Greetings, YouTube. I want to be the first to say that I was not able to follow the Summoner Showdown like I even had in years past. I've just had a crazy semester full of trying to juggle this continued full-time side hobby of YouTube with my ongoing demands of my teaching job. And so I was unfamiliar that there were any issues with the Summoner Showdown until today. And some of you, maybe, were not part of that. But shout out to my man Brian Shadow Strike, who is always keeps me updated with the latest forum posts. And I don't know how to pronounce this. I know W-E-R-E is Wer. Is it Werewrym? I'm just going to call him Mr. W. Sorry if that sounds elementary. But here's the preface. Having participated in the Summoner Showdown 2021, I wanted to do a write-up about my thoughts and experiences post-competition. I think I have to start off by saying that my opponents were both very good players and both of their decks were quite fun to fight against. Nothing I am going to say is meant in any way to take away from the victories they both got. Additionally, I hold no grudge against Kabam for the bug that screwed up my game plan. However, I am a bit disappointed that the final video cut makes no mention of that bug and how they addressed it on the forums. Well, I can't say I'm really surprised about that, but I really think that's a professional way to start out a video. He's saying that he's not bitter, at least not publicly, and that the opponents deserve to win. That's something Kabam forums should maybe follow in terms of their posts, context, and content. Some things to keep in mind, but before getting to the Miles bug, I think there are a few things to keep in mind and some things that I think are worth noting. First, Kabam doesn't have to put on this competition. I managed to qualify for the tournament, and that is awesome, all on its own. Well said. Just the fact that they are giving summoners the opportunity to play in such a high-stakes competition is amazing. The grand prize, in my mind, really is just qualifying. Second, the people at Kabam are not out to get us. I was able to chat with some of the guys coordinating this thing, and all of them were super cool. Reminds me of my thoughts on Kabam Broccoli. It was fun to nerd out about the game a bit and just chat about our favorite champs or most wanted champs. Even after the bug, they apologized for the mistake and offered me compensation, which was quite valuable. Third, this new solo mode is freaking amazing. Like, seriously, everyone is going to fall in love with this game mode as soon as it comes out. I know I did. Just getting the small taste of that that I did. Was it a bit rough around the edges during Summoner Tournament? Absolutely. But I don't think that is something that we should try to stick to Kabam as if they intentionally did anything to frustrate summoners. There is so much that is amazing about the Summoner Showdown, and I think it would be unfair for me to make my entire judgment based on the bug that affected my matches. Another really well said post. I'm loving how positive this guy is amongst the frustration. This is something that all of us can learn from, myself included. All right, now to the infamous Miles bug. So those are the positives in my mind, and they vastly outweigh the negatives. However, all that said, what happened to me was extremely frustrating, and the public response was frankly a bit insulting. Contrary to the public response, the private one was actually quite nice, as I previously mentioned, so I don't really understand how the public one could miss the mark by so far. In the announcement yesterday, it was stated that due to the fact that we do not believe it would have changed the outcome in selecting the winner, we did not redo the series. This is actually completely opposite of what I was told in private. The message I received after the tournament simply stated that because they didn't catch the bug on the build we played on and because the matches were scheduled so close together, there was just no time to redo them. And because of this, they offered me quite a large compensation package in the game. My question is, why not just say something similar in the public announcement in the video? Instead, the announcement feels like they are assuming that a bug causing me to lose during my very first fight would have no effect on the rest of my fights in the most competitive game mode in MCOC. This is absolutely absurd, as anyone who plays in extremely competitive environments could tell you mental state matters a whole lot, no doubt. Think about sports, right? Additionally, you could see that I even picked Miles in the following match and ended up never using him because I couldn't be confident that he would work as intended. So it most definitely affected the results in at least two ways. The first just being the fact that I picked Miles again, and the second being that dying to a bug in my first fight was demoralizing and completely ruined my confidence. God, that sucks. What perhaps frustrates me the most is that the video does not represent what actually happened that well. The casting makes it sound like the mistake was on my end when in fact I was actually the victim of a bug. To make matters worse, the video cuts everything in my interview that I had asked them about the Miles interaction. Ouch. So now for the 99% of people that watch the video and never visit the forums, I just end up looking like an idiot who doesn't understand how node champion interactions work. For me, this is the biggest issue. I don't like that just watching the video, you would never know anything went wrong. There should have been a pause immediately after my fight where they clarified the fight was bugged, but due to time constraints, nothing could be done and compensation was sent out. And I don't think people would have freaked out had they done that. They would just been like, oh, that sucks for him, but at least he was compensated, right? Boom, done. They did their part, and this post would never exist. Instead, here I am writing a novel that probably only 3 people will read. Well, after it gets on my channel, I bet you at least 4 people will read it. Because I feel like I need to defend myself from looking like a moron. The worst part is I legitimately had the most clever pick out of anyone in the Showdown. I don't say this lightly, as there were a lot of great players involved and a lot of great counters used, but if I had seen a working Miles in the Showdown, I think you would understand just how crazy good that pick was. The point system, I won't spend much time on this, as I think everyone, including Kabam, has seen the flaws in the point system. This is one of those rough edges I mentioned that gets worked out over time. We all saw it happen multiple times, and twice during my fights, where a player won because they managed to die faster than the opponent. Obviously, this is a really dumb way to score points, and I don't believe it will be the way points are scored with this mode is released on the live servers. My thought was that this point scoring should have been inverted whenever the player didn't knock out the opponent. I have said this time and time again, but DPS is a really bad way to gauge a successful fight. It would be better to just remove all time-related point scoring. Wrap up. I don't know if anyone will have made it this far. Again, that's why I'm here. In my novel, but if you are reading this, I must both thank you for sticking around and apologize that you have spent so much time reading my thoughts. Never apologize for your thoughts, man. Voices are important. I tell everybody, the reason why my channel exists is to give myself and those in the community a voice, and I'm honored to give you a voice in this video through my channel. I want to reiterate that I am not angry or upset with the guys at Kabam. In fact, quite the opposite. I had such a fun time playing this new mode competitively against some of the best players and really hope that I can do it again sometime. I have just been a bit disappointed seeing the way the bug was handled publicly. I decided to make this post because I think it is worth hearing this side of the story, and hopefully people don't think too horribly of me after my showing in the Showdown, hearing what I have to say. By the way, people think horribly of you? They're not qualifying. They're a bunch of scrub losers. The only thing they're eating is not knockouts, but probably Cheetos in their parents' basement. If you watched the end of the video and saw the parts that were included from my interview, you will see that I legitimately tried to have fun with this thing and threw a point in the wisdom mastery so I could talk about it in the interview afterwards and hopefully get some laughs. I thought it was pretty funny. I might try to make a video or talk to someone with more of a following about discussing some of these things. By the way, you choose to do whatever you want, bud, but I would love to interview you Kabam Broccoli style and get the community to submit questions on my community page that they would like to ask you. I also really want to talk about my deck and drafting process because I saw a lot of people criticizing one of my picks against Happy, and I think people did not fully understand the strategy involved. Anyways, I appreciate anyone who took the time to read any or all of my thoughts and hope to play some solo competitive matches against people in the community when it gets released. Long live the King. Sentinel is greater than Warlock. P.S. Do you guys think if I qualified next year, my name would get spelled right then? A little shade at the end, maybe? Whew, we made it in under 10 minutes. Look, this is one of the best worded, objective posts I have ever seen from anybody on the forums, whether it be summoners or forum posters like Kabam might. This is a fair post that gives plenty of flowers before talking about the thorns and does talk about how they were way more positive than negatives, even though just from reading this, and I'm sure maybe I could find elsewhere, I would love to even know what his specific compensation was because, well, it's just nice to know as somebody who's very curious. In the meantime, my friend, even though I'm saying my friend, I don't know you, so maybe you think that's weird. Sir, if you would like me to interview you and have the community ask you questions like I did with Kabam Broccoli, I'd be honored. If not, no hard feelings, but I thought I would at least extend the invitation. Thank you again to Brian Shadow Strike for even letting me know that this post existed so that I could get it on a video. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. A lot of great points overall. Still plenty of positives for Kabam, but also things to improve upon. In life, I always say, we're all trying to grow. If you think that you don't make any mistakes, you don't have room to grow, you are not doing what human beings should do, and that's both admit mistakes, but also try to stay positive and improve in general. Have a good rest of your weekend, everybody. Thanks for clicking on the video.